Today we are going, the topic I chose is self-talk. Okay. And the reason that I chose this is because I think it is incredibly important to have a positive narrative in your head. I think it's incredibly important. And I think that we forget sometimes that we're responsible for the development of that narrative. And I think for like a certain time in our lives, we're not, because we have like our parents who tell us like who we are and how we are. But at some point, like we take that back and it's ours and we get to do with it whatever we want, right? And so I realized that it doesn't always seem like we're in control of it, but we are. Like the thoughts that we have in our heads about ourselves, we are the ones that are responsible for making it positive, right? And that takes sometimes a legitimate effort, even though it's like kind of a weird thing. But I was fortunate in talking with another teacher about what I was going to tell you guys today. She said, be careful what you say because you're always listening. And it's in regards to like what you say about yourself, right? Because if I have a positive narrative in my head, the chances of me being better for other people is higher than if I have a negative narrative in my head. I couldn't, like me personally, right? I could not be as good for you guys if I have a negative narrative in my head. Especially the fact that like, I'm just being a teacher, I think it's incredibly important. But you guys also have that same influence. So I want you guys to think about that. Creating a positive narrative. So I think that comes from what do you focus on? So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about me, because I always do, and that's what I have to draw on, right? It's like my experiences, and if you guys can pick something up from it, that's what I'm hopeful for. So for me, kind of hard to admit, but I self-doubt a lot. And as a result of that, I don't take a lot of risks. I'm very comfortable in my own little thing and doing it consistently and doing a good job. But therefore, right, the things that like I really want in my life, I do what keeps me, secure and provides me stability. Okay? But if I took risks, if I didn't self-doubt and I took risks, right, I could move towards the things that I want in my life. And that's important, right? Because we're also in charge of that too, but it starts with our thoughts. It starts with, this narrative that we create. So what I've started to do in my own life, and granted, right, like I told you guys, I'm 25, so I'm starting to do it now at 25, which is cool. Hopefully, like getting me to 35, that's helpful for me. Because it's a journey, and it doesn't stop at 35, it keeps going for like your whole life. But yeah, if I, so the fact that I'm like changing some of my thoughts in my head, I think is really good. And the whole point for me to like talk to you guys about this is so that it can hopefully plant some seeds and start changing the way that you guys are thinking as well, right? So instead of thinking about things that I doubt, right, whether or not it's going to work out, whether or not I'm going to have enough money to provide for like myself and my family, whatever, because I think about those things, and instead of thinking about that, I want to think about what are the things that I'm doing to move me in the direction that I want, right? So I'm replacing the thoughts with, oh my gosh, this is a risk and it's scary, to replacing those thoughts with what am I doing to move myself forward. And I think once we start replacing some thoughts, it's really good for us. Like it's amazing. I haven't thought about, doubting myself in a second, right? And that's because things are good right now. So, hopefully they stay good and I continue to move in a forward direction. But, just starting to replace some thoughts, and over time, it's amazing how, you create a more positive narrative as a result of what you focus on. So I want to encourage you guys to do that. And the last thing that I want to talk to you guys about is making sure that, unless it's positive, but when you hear other people say things, right, like about you, make sure that you filter it through your own personal lens before you let it become a part of you and a part of your thoughts. So like, for example, right, like if I am sitting next to Cairo and Cairo didn't do so good on his last test, I don't know how you did on your last test, so this is like completely arbitrary. And Cairo didn't do so well, and I said, you're so stupid, right? And like, even just like in jest. The last thing, like, you know, for me personally, I don't want you to think you're stupid, but if that translates into Cairo thinking he's stupid, right, like, realize that just because someone projects something onto you, you are in control of whether you pick that up and you let it resonate with you and stick with you and, you know, and have a part in your thoughts or not. Because you have to be the one, I believe this, that thinks you're awesome before anybody else can think you're awesome. Truly think you're awesome. Like if I were to ask you what you think about yourselves and it was less than awesome, I don't want that for you. Like, so I guess I would rather talk to you guys about self-talk and help you guys start to shift your thoughts, or even just be aware of the things you say, maybe, right? But shift your thoughts into this positive frame of yourself so that you guys have that, because you're going to have that forever, right? Like, you're going to be with you forever. So make sure that what you guys are saying to yourselves is good stuff. And if we're in the process of changing those thoughts, what's worked for me is replacing those thoughts of negative with positive and moving forward. So that's what I have for you guys here today. Okay? What I want you guys to do is I want you guys to write about what do you want to think about yourselves. Okay? So today